Okay, we're live. Yay. So, we just get all set up here. All right. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of SIC Maui Talk Stories. I'll be hosting today. I'm Seychelle, and I'm just getting myself organized while we get some viewers logging on. I was a little bit late to get started this morning. So we're going to be talking about using drills to improve your stand-up paddle stroke technique. Using drills in your SUP training, how, when, why, different techniques, like using resistance, things like that, to improve your stand-up paddle stroke technique. So this is a really exciting topic and one that I have a lot to say about. So just thank you first and foremost to SIC Maui for hosting these talk stories. I know that this is a really great way for you to get a lot of great information and for me to be able to be with you to deliver it. So thanks also today. Total SUP is also cross-promoting on their platform. So thank you to Total SUP so we can reach even more people. And then thank you for being here to view live. Thank you for being interested in your own development and what I have to say about it. So, so let's dive in. Just jump in the comments. If you're here, just say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I love to know who's watching, especially a lot of you I know you watch these often. So please, throughout the entire talk story, I don't have any like presentation today. It's just me talking. So I would love it if it's more interactive in the chat or in the comments. And you're asking questions throughout as we go. I love your questions. So anytime, put a comment in there with a question. And if I don't get to it immediately, I will get to it from the end. Hey, Belle. So from the UK, cool. So, on that note, I'm gonna try and see if there's a way that we can start to do these on Zoom so we can be more interactive. And then still live stream them on Facebook. So I'm working on that. I will let you know. Hey, Sarah from Sweden. Cool. Wow. And hey, Neil. Awesome. Okay. So a lot of you know me and some of you don't. So for those of you who don't, I'm just going to give a quick introduction of like who I am and why you should listen to me on things like SUP stroke technique and using drills. So, for those of you that don't know, hi, I'm Seychelle. I am a professional stand-up paddle athlete and global athlete for SIC Maui, and I'm also a coach for stand-up paddle athletes. And I've been paddling and competing professionally for 9 years and teaching clinics all over the world to paddlers on stroke technique. So I coach athletes in groups and in one-on-one training. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. And in 2019, which was the last year that I competed, y'all, I was the APP World Champion for distance and sprinting. So I've spent a substantial amount of my time as an athlete really working on improving my stroke and my technique. That's always been a huge part of my training and my implementation. So I'm always learning, I'm always practicing, I'm always improving, and I'm always teaching what works for me to others. And I've developed an entire drill video series of the drills that I've developed that I use myself and when I'm teaching stand-up paddle stroke. And so some of the main things that I focus on when I'm teaching, especially, are stroke efficiency and power, as well as using proper body mechanics and recovery protocols to prevent injury and get out of pain. So those are some of my Key things that I focus on. Yeah, okay, Matthew from Total SUP is here. I just gave y'all a shout out and a thank you for cross promoting this today. And I think as an ongoing collaboration, so that's really exciting. Good morning, Kimberly. Cool, we got a good group on here. So I'm really passionate about this, about paddling, about stroke technique especially, and I'm really passionate about helping people. So, hey Marie from the UK, cool. So let's talk about drills and why to use drills. So some of the main reasons why I believe you should use drills when you're in your SUP training. So SUP is a very complex sport, and the SUP stroke is a very complex full body movement. There's a lot to going on in it takes on average about a 1.5 seconds to take a stroke, right? And so in that span of 1.5 seconds, there's a dozen or more different things actually going on that you could possibly be thinking about. And so it's therefore it's impossible in that span of 1.5 seconds to be thinking about everything that is going into your stroke, right? So when we practice drills, what we do is we break the stroke down into individual pieces that can be isolated and slightly exaggerated to focus on. And when you do drills, you just practice one aspect of your stroke that you're focusing on for that entire drill. And what you take away from drills is, rather than thinking or trying to think of all the things that you're trying to do each time you take a stroke, you want to take away from that drill, of that isolation, how it really feels in your body. Okay, so when you put the drills together and when you're paddling in your fluid rhythm of your SUP stroke, what you can concentrate on is how it feels, the connection that you feel to the water, the connection that you feel in your body, okay? And not thinking about a dozen different things that you're trying to do in the span of one stroke. Does that make sense? So that's a reason why I break things down into drills, and drills slow things down. And when you're learning something new, it helps to go slow. Excuse me. I have a little bit of a cough. It helps to go slow to learn something new, and especially not just forming new habits, but trying to improve and or change habits. And I'm not gonna say break bad habits, but to change habits, right? So it helps to go slow so that you can be focused, so that you can really feel what you're doing, and you have more time to integrate that and to process it. Hey, Ludo. So you've probably all heard the term muscle memory. What we learn really well physically, our physical body learns really well through repetition. Actually, our mental body learns, our mind works really well through repetition as well. So we learn really well through repetition. And our body actually learns how to do a movement the more we repeat it. So when you have a way that you've been doing something for a long time, in your muscle memory, it's even harder to, and takes more time and deliberation to change that, but it is possible. So it takes repetition and focusing on one thing at a time. I'm just checking my notes and keeping myself on track. So, how many of you have tried to change something in your stroke before and you maybe even thought one, it's just like it's impossible to get your body to do that. Two, you think you're doing it, and then you see a video or a picture of yourself and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that at all. Um, or, maybe you're like, actually, I'm still like learning I'm still on the learning stages of how to paddle. So you guys could let me know in the comments if any of those are you, or you're number four, something I didn't even think of. So, um, why we would practice drills would be to stop thinking about your technique while you're paddling and start feeling that connection. So Sarah's still learning. Cool. So, and then another reason why it's really helpful is simply just thinking about your technique while you're paddling. You're going out and you're paddling. You say, Seychelle, I'm working on my technique all the time. I'm always working on my technique. Okay, great. I know hopefully we're not just going out and going, oh, the heck with technique. I'm just gonna blast it, But just going out and thinking about your technique while you're paddling, while you're doing your low, slow, you know, um, levels of training, it's helpful. Yes, do that, but it's not going to get you the results of being able to shift your habits, your stroke, implement new techniques into your stroke. It's not going to get you the results that doing drills is going to get you. Does that make sense? So, we're falling into those old patterns more than we think or realize. So, any questions before I jump on to that was my why, and now I'm going to talk about how for drills. Dramatic pause for questions. All right, if any come through, I will definitely answer them if I can. So, how to use drills? And this is a little bit more simple. This is the way that I break it down or recommend. If you're somebody who paddles 4 days a week or more, one whole day you can dedicate to just doing drills. And I have entire workouts that I've written around just doing drills for that entire workout. So that's your whole day is just your once a week is strictly technique day. And that's one way if you're somebody who has the capacity, the ability to train, many days a week. If you're somebody who paddles only 1 to 3 days a week, totally still able to work on your technique. What I recommend in that case is the first, 10 to 20 minutes at the beginning and 10 to 20 minutes at the end of every paddle session, you do some drills. And that's, the beginning and the end is when you're really dedicated to drills. And yes, maybe the whole time you're thinking about your technique, but that's when you're actually just throwing in some drills and your warm up and your cool down. So, yeah, I wish I could paddle that frequently, says Trey, he was talking about more than 4 days a week. Me too. It's really hard with the baby to get more than 4 days a week of paddling in, but you do what you can, right? Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, I'm with you guys right now, still trying to get in a few days a week. We all just do what we can, and so yeah, you can still totally work on your technique and improve as a paddler, no matter how often you're able to go. Obviously, the more you go, the more time you put in, the faster you get results, but we do what we can. So, for best results, always practice drills in as flat of water as possible, okay? So you can go into a canal, you can go into a harbor, behind a breakwater, whatever you got to do to try to get out of swell and wind and current. Again, you do what you can, but that's going to give you the best results for your drills is if you can do them in as flat of water as possible. So, in protected areas. And when you practice drills, one thing that's helpful to remember is don't expect to immediately feel like you're understanding what you're trying to do or that you're even feeling like you're doing it initially, right? So it takes time and it takes practice. And for me, when there's something new I'm trying to implement in my stroke, there's always a period of actually just trying to conceptualize what I'm trying to do. And then there's a period of I understand what I'm trying to do, and then I'm trying to get my body to be able to repeat that and get that to happen consistently, and then it starts to integrate into my stroke. So there's it takes time, and what I'm hoping when you practice drills is that you get where initially you get where there's like every once in a while there's a stroke where you were like, oh, that was it. Oh, I felt that. Those strokes, when you get those strokes, you're like, oh, I felt that. Those, then you're trying to link that. All you're trying to do is trying to link those together and get that to happen more consistently. Even when you've been practicing your technique for a long time, you still have times when it starts to fall apart and the wheels start to fall off. So again, rather than having to be thinking about all these things, how is it feeling in your body, feeling that connection and connecting those strokes together. So, still making sense? Y'all still with me? Questions? Cool. So a couple of other small tips that I have on working on drills and slowing things down is that you can use resistance when you're paddling to help in this way. I don't recommend using resistance on longer training paddles, on harder, more intense levels of training. I do recommend using resistance when you're implementing drills. About 50% of the time. Sometimes you want to do drills without resistance, and sometimes you want to do drills with resistance. So resistance, just like resistance training, which would be like weightlifting, it helps build strength. And excuse me. It can also be helpful for building technique. Okay, so you can add resistance to your board. These are some of the ways. Actually, let me talk about that. So when you add resistance, it slows everything down. So basically, it gives you more time for that stroke to really feel what's happening. And I think it feels really good. You don't put a ton of resistance, just a little bit. I'm going to talk about how much to put. But so again, for learning, it gives you more time. It slows things down to really feel what's happening. So a couple of simple ways to add resistance. For example, you can drag a leash, right? You could wear one leash and drag another one. A coil leash creates a nice little bit of resistance. And that's often the easiest one that I do. So you could also take a couple of bungee cords and wrap them around the nose of your board. So if the nose of your I'm like it's mirrored here. You know how the nose of your board gets wider? So right before the widest part, you would wrap them around so they can't slide back anymore, but they'll be underneath the board creating resistance and drag. You can get fancy and put holes in a tennis ball through one bungee cord or even through a wiffle ball, but it's hard to get. You have to be able to feed the bungee through the ball and then wrap it around your board. You would also do that up on the nose of your board before the widest part. So those are some simple ways that you can create resistance and start practicing. And now you're like, okay, great. I know how and why to use drills, but I don't know what drills to use. So I've talked about, I gave a couple in the video analysis talk that I did a couple of weeks ago, but I have something really exciting to share with you all right now. Since you're on here, I have two really exciting things to share. So one, as you know, I just launched a drill video series of all of the drills. I made a drill video series, something I've been working on for a long time. All the drills that I use when I teach stand-up paddle racing technique to help you improve your stroke, your efficiency, your power, your speed, your body mechanics. And so that's available for purchase right now on my website. And because you're watching this, I made a coupon code just for SIC Talk Stories. It's all lowercase, one word, SIC Talk Stories. uh, and you can reach out or DM me if you want me to send that to you. So you can use that coupon code on my website for 15% off. And actually, I'll just put it in the comments. And the other really exciting thing is that starting in March, I'm doing an 8-week SUP stroke school. And it's going to include the drill video series, of course, but it's also going to include 4 sessions of video analysis and one-on-one coaching with me, as well as 8 weeks of programming to help you improve your technique. So, and then the drill video series comes along with that. So I'm really excited for the SUP stroke school that's going to be happening in March. So you can DM me or put in the comments if you want more information on that. You can just send me your email. And the other thing that I have free for you today for watching this, if you would like, is I took some really nice notes. And if you send me your email in the comments or DMs, I'll share these notes with you so you have them. Just sort of the pointers that I talked about to help keep it fresh in your mind. So yeah, that's what I have for you today on using drills and how and when and why, and how we can continue to work on these things together. I would love, 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 love to help you improve your paddle stroke. Since you're watching this, I know that's what you're interested in, so please reach out. That is what I do through video analysis, through drills, through one-on-one coaching. Thank you so much, SIC. Thank you so much, Total SUP. Thank you so much, you, for being here. And reach out to me on Facebook or email. I'm going to put the links and everything I just talked about in the comments on this video. And what else did I want to say? I think that's it. I didn't see any other questions come through, but I will get that info to you guys. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Thank you, thank you, thank you.